Along.
Over the past few days, we've seen the Liberals come to the dispatch box here and ask questions of the government on housing. And their questions always imply two things. Firstly, the Liberals imply that the housing crisis we are in today only started 2 years ago. And secondly, they continue to shamefully link current migration numbers with a housing crisis that we know has been decades in the making. Those two implications are not only offensive, but they are wildly incorrect. With the record that the Liberals and Nationals have in their decade in government, it takes some gall to come in here and blame the current government for the housing crisis they helped make worse. In 2 years, you cannot solve a housing crisis that has been decades in the making. In 2 years, you cannot fix the underinvestment in social housing that occurred under the Liberals. And, Deputy Speaker, it takes a lot longer than 2 years to unpick their ill-thought-out and half-baked policies which have contributed to the housing crisis we face today. During their time in office, the number of new social homes built was the lowest in over 50 years. Under their watch, homelessness rates soared, a fact starkly illustrated by the latest census data. The Liberals made significant cuts to funding for social and affordable housing, especially the National Rental Affordability Scheme. The NRAS was supposed to offer affordable rentals for low to moderate income earners, but its cancellation has contributed to the housing crisis we're in today. In 2014, they abolished the National Housing Supply Council, which was essential for monitoring housing supply and affordability issues, and provided advice to government on how to meet challenges. Without it, policy decisions were made blindly, devoid of expert advice. And no policy demonstrated that lack of expert advice than their housing policies than during the pandemic, and one in particular, their home builder program. Nearly every expert was saying to sustain the building industry that the government's support should go to supply. And instead of providing more supply, instead of providing more homes for renters, all Home Builder did was drove up the price of housing. Instead of building more homes, Home Builder helped people already with homes to renovate their home. So, Deputy Speaker, it's clear that the former government failed on housing. They have the gall to come in here and accuse this government, saying we haven't had time to clean up their mess in 2 years. Well, of course, we haven't finished that. In two short years, I can tell you that, Deputy Speaker, we're actually doing something about supply. And unbelievably, the Liberals have voted against all efforts to fix the housing crisis we're in today, every single one. The Liberals weren't interested in finding solutions then, and they're not interested in finding them now. Well, unlike them, Deputy Speaker, our government understands that too many Australians are facing serious housing challenges. We had an ambitious goal of building 1.2 million homes by the end of the decade through our Homes for Australia plan. The most recent budget includes $6.2 billion to boost housing supply, totaling total Homes for Australia package to a whopping $32 billion. Our $9.3 billion national agreement on social housing and homelessness will double homelessness funding. We're committing $1 billion for homes for women and children fleeing violence, and we're expanding fee-free TAFE places to address construction skill shortages. And we're taking immediate action, including the Social Housing Accelerator and initiatives to support renters and home buyers, such as the Home Guarantee Scheme, the Help to Buy Scheme, and our incentives to build 160,000 rental-only properties, which is currently being blocked in the Senate by the Liberals and the Greens. We're elected to help with the housing crisis, and at every opportunity the Albanese government has built on our broad and ambitious housing agenda because we recognise the seriousness of our nation's challenges. Our government understands we cannot afford to aim low on housing. That's why our housing reforms are the most significant in a generation. Those opposite want to stand here and claim that our government isn't taking action on housing, and that's absolute rubbish. They had opportunity to address the housing crisis, and they sat on their hands in their decade in government. Instead of tackling these issues head-on, they choose to play politics, they choose to blame migrants, and then they team up with the Greens political party to block or vote down more housing supply. We are committed to ensuring every Australian has a safe and affordable place to call home, and despite the efforts of the Liberals and their mates in the Greens to derail these plans, we were elected to get on with the job and will continue to do so.